Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC-TV18. It's time to talk about the global markets now. And as always, let's take a look at what the Asian markets are doing. Now, remember, it was a strong handover that we got from Wall Street. And that is something that we can see from in the Asian market moves as well. The Chinese markets, the CSI that is, has plunged around 7%, snapping the 10-day winning streak. But Hang Seng, that is the one which is doing well. It is up around 2.5% right now. The Taiwanese markets, they are shut for a holiday today. But apart from that, if you look at something like a Shanghai, it's up 1.5%. We have Kospi trading in the green. Nikkei 2 is higher in trade. And the GIFT Nifty, that will come up on the screen. And that one is indicating that the start for our own markets could be well in the green, 116 points higher. And this would come after the fall that we saw yesterday, Mangalam, in our own markets. Barring mid-caps, it was a sharp fall from the highs.
It was indeed a sharp fall from the highs. Once again, there is, a bump up at the start. The question is where we go from here, especially given the fact that it's also a Thursday, which is Nifty weekly options expiry. But this bump up and the Asian market positivity that you were talking about, all of them came in on account of a strong handover that came in from Wall Street. It ended higher with the S&P500 and Dow ending Wednesday's session at a fresh record close as well. The S&P 500 rose by about 0.7% or 40 points. The Dow jumped over 1% as well. Big tech stocks were also notable gainers, with the Nasdaq ending about 0.2% higher, about 108 points on that index. So let's go across to CNBC's Bertha Coombs, who gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. markets were higher across the major indexes today, with the Dow and S&P 500 hitting new highs. For the S&P, it was the 44th record close of the year. That's more than one per week so far this year. The Dow ended up 432 points. The S&P was up 41, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq gained 109. The Department of Justice says it's considering asking a federal judge to force Google to sell parts of its business. It's part of the department's antitrust lawsuit against the company. Some of the proposals include restricting how Google's AI mines other websites to deliver search results and blocking Google from paying companies, including Apple, billions of dollars annually to guarantee its search engine is the default on consumers' electronic products like the iPhone. The DOJ is set to present a more detailed proposal next month. Google has vowed to appeal the judge's ruling. Boeing is withdrawing its contract offer after union talks ended without a deal yesterday. It would have given striking machinists a 30% raise over 4 years. The plane manufacturer accused the union of making non-negotiable demands for far in excess of what can be accepted, while the union accused Boeing of refusing to adequately improve wages, retirement plans, and leave benefits. According to S&P Global, the stoppage will cost Boeing more than $1 billion a month. Boeing workers have been on the picket line since mid-September. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back over to you in Mumbai.
All right, that's the U.S. market action, but let's listen in to Ben Emmons, the Chief Investment Officer at FedWatch Advisors, to get his view on Fed's rate cut outlook.
CPI 2 today, which is another market-moving event. Take that with this Google news that you just highlighted. Do you think that the market is very on edge here, saying, Fed, if you're willing to cut more, you're going to push the economy more, so therefore stimulate the economy more? So I think this is what the market will look at. So why did they get actually to this 50 basis point cut after all? Now, Kugler said was I think really clear about we really see a risk in the labor market developing, and we want to get ahead of that risk. I think that's the key message here. I think if the minutes are really making a big case about that, then you're going to get that repricing of this 50 basis point cut coming back.
All right, and with that, we'll get you the final update on our global market wrap. This morning, the European market ended Wednesday's trading session higher. There was a positive sentiment that returned to the region with several key releases ahead. We had the French index, which was up around 0.5%, almost 1% for the German DAX as well. And the British index, the British FTSE, added about 53 points, which amounted to about 0.2% in terms of gains for that index too. The pan-European stock 600 also grew by about 0.66% in trade, which made it its best performance in the last 2 weeks, with all sectors in the green. So positive news coming in from the global markets overall.
All right, that's about the European markets. Global markets looking really good. So we'll do one thing. We'll slip into a short break and we'll tell you how these overnight cues could impact our own markets in our Power Prep segment. Stay tuned for that.
Welcome back. We've spoken about the global setup. Let's tell you how this would impact the markets and how the stocks will react in today's trading session as well. This is our Power Prep segment. First up, to get us all the market cues, we have Vinny joining in. Vinny, the GIFT Nifty indicating a positive start for our markets.
Absolutely. GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start for our markets. But yesterday in the last few trading hours, we saw that the Nifty actually declined and it closed below the 25,000 mark again. So we're keeping an eye out on that level. Will we again see a comeback coming in from the Nifty? That's something that we're watching out for. What dragged the Nifty yesterday was obviously in terms of FMCG as well as some of the financial majors, which saw a bit of a decline. And most of the names in the top 5 losers of the Nifty 50 came in from the FMCG side. So whether you look at an ITC, Nestle, Britannia, HUL among the top losers, and other than that we also had ONGC, which was amongst the drags. Let's not forget the heavyweights like Reliance and HDFC Bank also was not something that was participating in yesterday's trading session. Reliance also saw a bit of a decline, so as well we saw HDFC Bank. Why the pressure? Obviously those Middle East tensions, they have been continuing. There's a lot of volatility that's going on around that, and FIIs have continued to sell and remained sellers even in yesterday's trading session. What are we watching out for today? Let's look at how the US market is performing. Other than that, we'll watch out for the US report that will be coming in terms of the CPI figure for the month of September. Domestic front, we do have the Nifty weekly options expiry, so keeping an eye on that. And lastly, earnings season has started. TCS will be reporting its numbers. Other than that, Tata Elxsi as well as IREDA, some of the companies on the back of its earnings. So yes, earnings impact is now what we are watching out for in the markets.
Yes, earnings, that'll be the key to watch right now. The big RBI policy outcome is behind us. So let's talk about some of the stocks that'll be on our radar now. Vamakshi is joining us with that list. Good morning, Vamakshi.
Well, good morning, Sona. Let me first start off with Adani Enterprises. They've launched their QIP, set the floor price at 3,117 per share. Sources suggest that the issue size of this QIP is at 4,200 crores and the indicative price is at 2,962 per share, putting it at a discount of nearly 6% to the current market price and up to 5% to the SEBI floor price. Star Health has also reported a massive data leak. Hackers claim data of over 3 crore customers of Star Health has been leaked. The hackers also claim that the Star Health CISO, who is Amarjit Khanuja, sold the data, but the company says that the CISO has been cooperating in the investigation and they have not yet arrived at any finding of wrongdoing by him till date. Ola Electric is the next counter we will be watching out for, and that is because the Heavy Industries Ministry has asked Automobile Testing Agency ARAI to look into complaints against Ola Electric. PNC Infra also in focus because they've emerged as the lowest bidder in a EPC project worth 2,091 crores. GR Infra 2 has received an LOA worth 903 crores from Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation. Patanjali Foods, CCI has approved 1,100 crore deal to acquire home and personal care business from Patanjali Ayurved. Britannia also on our radar because 2 years after signing JV with the Bell Group, JV has inaugurated its cheese factory in Maharashtra. The facility will be used to produce Britannia's The Laughing Cow products. Rain Industries arm Rain Carbon Inks has signed an agreement with Northern Graphite to jointly develop advanced battery anode material used in lithium-ion batteries for EVs. So these are the counters you should be watching out for.
All right, Vamakshi, take that point. In terms of an F&O space, remember it's a Thursday today. It is also the weekly options expiry for the Nifty. The GIFT Nifty indicating a positive start, but it's not the start. It's the end on the indices that will matter the most because it yesterday also did extremely well after a relief rally in the previous trading session too. Yesterday, the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank fell about 250 points and 700 points on the highs respectively. The FII selling has abated a little bit. Over the last few trading sessions, the FII selling has come off. Yesterday, what happened, however, was the DII buying was not more than the FII selling. Even though the FII sold about 4,500 crores in the cash market, the net institutional outflow was about 1,000 odd crores because the domestic institutional investors bought just about 3,500 crores. The other thing, the FIIs, they continue to sell in index futures. Yesterday as well, there was almost 3,600 crore worth selling where they unwound a further 30,000 longs and added another 23,000 shorts as well. So as a result of which, in just the last 3 trading sessions, the FIIs have net added over 1 lakh short contracts on the index itself, from a negative 0.35 lakh on October 7th. It's about negative 1.3 lakh short contracts on October 9th itself, with the FI long exposure falling from 47% to 38%. Remember, this at the start of the series was 81%. The FI selling has been lapped up by the HNIs. Clients' net long exposure has increased to 61%. This number was about 37% at the start of the series, and their net long contracts have moved to 1.7 lakh as well. The other thing we'll have to watch out for with the Nifty weekly options expiry today is that the put-call ratio is still below that 0.7475 mark at around 0.72. So we'll keep an eye out on what the options range is. 24,750 at the lower level to 25,150 at the upper level is what the options are positioned themselves for. We'll keep an eye out on a couple of these technical levels, the 20-day moving average for the Nifty and the 50-day moving average, and similar for the Nifty Bank as well. Finally, one stock on our radar, Tata Chemicals, had entered F&O ban, so we'll keep an eye out on that.
It's anyway going to be all about Tatas today, right? But definitely that is the F&O setup today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us and prepping us up for this trading day ahead. We'll slip into a break now, and up next we'll continue our special tribute to legendary business icon Ratan Tata. Okay, that is the big story, of course, that we are tracking. Let's go across to News 18's Isha Kotak, standing by at outside the Tata residence in Colaba, Mumbai, to get us the latest. Yesha.
Absolutely. In fact, right here at Colaba, this is where the mortal remains of Ratan Tata, who passed away late last night, have been kept as of now. In fact, I'll show you visuals from right outside his residence. This is at Colaba, where Ratan Tata, used to stay. Late last night was where after the announced that Ratan Tata has passed away, was where we saw that the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister, both of them visited Bridge Candy Hospital. In fact, we saw several industrialists, including Reliance Chairman Mukesh Ambani, also visited residence. As of now, at this very place, we also saw Niranjan Hirandani, whose car just went out from the residence. But speaking about the details about how they will be panning out, late last night after the formalities at Bridge Candy were completed, was where mortal remains of Ratan Tata were brought in here at his residence. Of course, the place has now been kept open for tributes, but this is only for the family members or the close associates of Ratan Tata, where they can come and pay their tributes to Ratan Tata right here. However, later in the day, around 9:45 or 10 is where we expect mortal remains of Ratan Tata to be taken out from here. There's a green corridor that the corps will prepare. He will be taken to NCPA. At NCPA is where it will be open for public to pay tributes to him throughout the day until 3:34. And following which he then be mortal remains will then be taken to the Worli crematorium. Of course, we know Ratan Tata used to follow the Parsi Zoroastrian culture. Usually in the Parsi Zoroastrian culture, we see that that it is the Tower of Silence is where the mortal remains are confined to. But however, over the recent couple of in a decade, also we've seen a Worli crematorium come up, wherein at the Worli crematorium is where Ratan Tata's mortal remains will be taken, and that is where again we'll see some friends, associates, close family members would be present there as well. However, as of now, of course, we see that tight police bandole that's been put into place all the way from here until NCP, and then from there until Worli. Yes.
All right. Take that point, Isha. Thank you so much for that. That's about the proceedings of the day for the mortal remains of Mr. Ratan Tata. But speaking about Ratan Tata himself, his career was marked by three major acquisitions in the Tata Group itself. One of them was Tetley, the other one was Chorus, and the third one was Jaguar Land Rover. So we're just trying to put together a couple of achievements beyond all of that in terms of numbers for Ratan Tata. If you look at Titan, in the consumer space itself, when Ratan Tata took over from the reins, of course, this was a company which was started by Xerxes Desai and JRD Tata. In 1991, when Titan was taken over, it was the country's largest watch company with a revenue of 155 crores and profit of 11 crores. During his tenure, the business grew into jewelry, Tanishq, and created tremendous value, the story as we know it. And FY13, when he left in the middle of 2012, the company had revenues of 10,000 crores and a profit of 725 crores. So that was the big growth that one of his companies saw. And the other one, I would say, personally, would be the important move that he made in the consumer space as well. Tatas were until 2000, despite having Tata Tea and strong brands, lagging Unilever in the tea business until 2000. Then a big, bold acquisition came by. He acquired Tetley in 2000, a company which was at that point 3 times the size of Tata's own revenue. So this was, in a sense, the first of the major big acquisitions that they did. Tetley was that time the second largest tea seller in the world when Tata's acquired it. And they paid about 271 billion pounds for this acquisition, making their first foray into international markets and perhaps whetting their appetite for the next big acquisitions that were to come their way as well. Most notable of them, like I said, would be JLR and and Chorus Steel.
And, they're known for the acquisitions that they've made. They've been big ticket acquisitions, and now they have turned around most of them and created wealth over time for the shareholders and everyone associated with the business as well. In fact, let's take this forward because Vinny is joining us now to document the journey Tata Motors had under Ratan Tata. Vinny.
Absolutely. Just one more achievement in his feather, because like Mangalam was talking about JLR, one of the big acquisitions that you can talk about for Tata Motors. But before that also, 1991, when he took over as the chairman of Tata Group. Since then, we've seen a lot of changes that he made even in Tata Motors. Talking about Indica, which was one of the first designed and built in cars in India. So truly leading the make in India since 1990s, and that is what we're, is an interesting move that came in. Indica was obviously in 1998 that we're watching out for. Other than that, JLR acquisition 2008, that was a big one with the British company. And moving on, we also saw that he had a vision to make a car for the masses of India, and that was when he spearheaded and conceptualized Tata Nano. And that's when we saw Tata Nano coming in at a price point where every Indian could afford it, and that was his dream, to make a car available and affordable for everyone. So his pet projects, among them was Tata Nano, JLR acquisition, and Indica among the Make in India projects that he worked on. Other than that, let's not forget the EV move that they started making as well. So yes, the Tigger electric vehicle was something that he was a part of. And since then, when you look at it in terms of just 1992, when he took over in terms of the reins of Tata Group, that time Tata Motors had a revenue of around 3,000 crores, 3,200 crores. And in FY13, the revenues were at around 51,400 crores. So clearly a good move that we're seeing over the years, and a lot of achievements and turnarounds that we've seen for Tata Motor.
Okay, all right. Definitely a lot of them to talk about. We'll keep doing that through the course of the day. Thank you so much, Vinny, for joining us with those important details. It's time to slip into a short break. Up next, we'll get you all the cues from the commodities markets, so stay tuned for that.
Welcome back. It's been quite a morning. We've been discussing, the passing away of Ratan Tata. We've spoken about the markets and the setup, and importantly, the commodity space as well. A lot of cues coming in from there as oil continues to decline. Manisha Gupta this morning joins in with all the updates from that arena. Good morning, Manisha.
Thank you for that, Mangalam. Well, crude oil prices have snapped the 2-day of decline, and we're looking at some buying coming in the Asian markets right now. While there are fears on Iran oil supply, on conflict with Israel, it also is about Hurricane Milton that could lead to supply disruptions in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, this is the third straight hurricane in last 1 month, which has led to shutdowns in sense of Gulf of Mexico, keeping prices supported there. Having said that, the US EIA has now lowered the demand 2025 forecast. They say that weak China demand and slowdown in North America are few reasons that have led to continuous decline in their proposals there. Metals also have seen decline. This is on the back of strength in US dollar. The FOMC minutes show members divided on the size of rate cuts is the reason you have seen yet another 1% decline coming in for copper. It is off its 3-month highs. Gold continues to decline. Today is the sixth day of decline. Silver prices are now down 5% on a week. Iron ore prices fell 5% overnight as well. Even as China is going to announce special bonds and expedite long-term investments, is what they say by this weekend. The markets, until they hear it, see it, are not reacting to it yet.
All right, so that's what's happening in the commodity space. Metals have declined further, and the analysis that Manisha gave us as well. Thank you so much, Manisha, for joining in, as always, with those updates. We'll slip into another break. When we come back, we'll get you more news and updates on the other side, so stay tuned for that. Welcome back. It's time to take a look at the Asian markets yet again. They seem to be doing really well. Remember, Taiwanese markets are shut for a holiday. Hang Seng has extended the gains. It was up around 2.5% a while back, up 3% right now. And that's the case across most of the Asian markets as well. The GIFT Nifty, that one is indicating a higher start for the Indian markets. But again, Mangnam, we'll have to see whether we see some stability at those levels, because we did see that fall from the highs yesterday.
Take that point entirely. That's about the markets. But, you know, the day will obviously, and the next couple of weeks too, we will still be reminiscing about the life and times of Ratan Tata as we speak. At the bottom of your screen, we have tributes pouring in from international business leaders, international leaders, national ministers, and you know, from all over the place. That's the kind of impact that Ratan Tata had on all Indians' lives, and as a result of which, the lives of everyone in the world as well. We take your leave on this edition of Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18, but don't go anywhere. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next.